Hi, it's Tiffani Cappello. Are you ready to transform your life? So today I'm excited to help you on your journey to overcoming anxiety. Now remember, your anxiety is not a result of your weakness, and it's absolutely not your fault. The problem is your thoughts. And those anxiety-producing thoughts flow out of patterns of disempowering beliefs that reside deep within your subconscious mind. So today I'm going to help you identify some of the negative, disempowering beliefs that are driving your anxiety and keeping it alive. So I'm sure you've already realized that as an anxious person, you think differently than people who are not anxious. When people who do not struggle with anxiety think about the things that you're afraid of, they don't get afraid because they think about those things differently. And there's one core belief that non-anxious people have that anxious people don't have. And that is what I'd like to talk to you about today. So people who do not have anxiety believe that they can handle situations and circumstances that are scaring you. So I'm going to tell you a brief story just to illustrate this point. So as a young mother, I was absolutely haunted with anxiety that one of my children would die. Now, I had a very good reason for this anxiety because when I was only 22, my firstborn child actually did die at only 15 days old of multiple birth defects. So I had more children, but I found myself living in terror that something was going to happen to one of my children. And then I would have to face that kind of pain all over again. So every illness, every little bump and bruise that my child would get, it was like a major emergency to me. I felt certain that something terrible was about to happen. And even when my kids were healthy, I just couldn't ever relax because I was just waiting for the shoe to drop, just waiting for something to come and steal them from me. Now, I understood where this fear came from, but there was one thing that really puzzled me. You see, after my daughter died, I joined a recovery group, and I noticed not every mother in that group experienced long-term anxiety after the death of their children. Years later, I was still struggling with terrible fear. Now, why didn't these other women develop an anxiety disorder after the death of their children like I did? I didn't choose to still struggle, and I know you don't either. And I'll tell you what, that really made me feel crappy about myself. I felt like something was wrong with me because I was the one that developed the anxiety. But that wasn't the case. The truth is that I had a deep belief about myself and my ability to handle situations. And this belief was what was driving my thought processes. My belief was that if something happened to one of my children, I simply would not have been able to handle it. I would not be able to take it. I wouldn't be able to stand it. And honestly, I thought I might even die. Well, let me tell you, whenever you tell yourself that you can't handle something or stand something, whenever you tell yourself you're not going to be able to take it, or you might die if something happens to you, that is a signal to your mind. You see, your mind's job is to keep you alive, both physically and psychologically. So when you tell yourself that you can't handle, stand, or deal with something, your mind is going to make absolutely certain that you don't encounter that situation. Or at least it's going to try to do that by keeping you on guard 24/7, trying to get you to prevent whatever you won't be able to handle from taking place. So your mind is going to send you looping thoughts to try to get you to take every precaution so this terrible thing that will kill you doesn't happen to you. So I want you to take a look at these 3 sentences. I can't stand it if. I won't be able to handle it if. I will just die if. Now, whatever you insert at the end of these sentences, that is what's going to have power over you. That is what is going to haunt you. So those women in my support group who did not face ongoing fear of losing another child, they thought very differently than I did about that situation. Now, for some of them, they didn't even think about it at all. They reasoned that the likelihood of losing another child, well, it wasn't real high. And if they did have that thought, the thought that it might happen again, they believed that they would figure out how to navigate another terrible tragedy. They believed they were strong enough to take the pain and get through the situation. They believed they had the resources they needed to survive, or they believed they could find them. So in other words, they told themselves, I can stand it if blank. I will be able to handle it if blank. I will survive if blank. So what is the core belief behind your anxiety and the belief that you can't handle or deal with what you fear? It's because you believe that you are not enough to handle these circumstances in life. So if you have health anxiety, for example, you believe that you are not enough to keep yourself in good health and handle health-related issues. You fear disease and illness because you don't believe you have what it takes to deal with it. If you have relationship anxiety, you believe that you're not going to be able to survive if something happens to your relationship, or you won't be able to take the pain of a breakup, or you're not going to be able to handle living without your partner. If you're too afraid to leave your career and start your own business, you believe that you might not be able to handle not having a steady income. You believe you might not be able to survive without your job. You believe you might not be able to handle the challenges of being a business owner. So these examples are a perfect illustration of how a deep sense of insecurity lies at the root of anxiety. This is why you lack confidence, and then you will inevitably suffer from anxiety. So if you have anxiety, you're not going to have the confidence you need to move forward. Lack of confidence and anxiety, these problems go hand in hand. So you can't solve one without the other. Well, that's good news, because when you overcome your anxiety, your confidence increases. When you increase your confidence, your anxiety dissipates. So here's a helpful exercise for you to begin moving in the right direction to defeat anxiety in your life. So I want you to take a moment now, and I want you to just write down the issues that you've been struggling with anxiety over. And notice the different ways in which you've been telling yourself that you don't have what it takes to handle that situation. Now, it's easy to see when you take a look at what you've written down why your mind keeps looping thoughts about how terrible it would be if this situation happened to you, because you don't believe you can handle it. You don't believe you can stand it, and you think you're not going to be able to take it. Well, I can tell you, my friend, that is not true. The truth is that when you learn to think differently, you can handle any situation that life throws at you, because your mindset is the key. When you have the confidence you need, you can rise to any challenge. And truly, you're not going to die when you believe you're a strong, capable, competent person. You won't die facing these situations. You will be able to stand strong. The truth is that you do have what it takes to get through any situation life throws at you when you believe in you. You see, it's all about shifting these subconscious beliefs. So whatever you wrote down, now I would like you to write down those 3 empowering sentences we talked about earlier. I can stand it if blank. I will be able to handle it if blank. I will survive if blank. And then when those nagging, anxious, and fearful thoughts come to haunt you, you're going to talk back to them. You're going to tell a different story. And the good news is that now I don't worry about one of my children dying. Now, does that mean it won't happen? No, it doesn't. It might be unlikely, but I know it can still happen. So if I didn't believe I could handle it, my mind would still be trying to get me to do something to prevent it by continuing to bring that fear. Of course, this is impossible, but the mind is not always rational in its decisions as to how it protects us. So I no longer have anxiety over losing my children because I'm telling myself a different story. it would be awful. I would grieve. It would be painful, but I can stand it if I lose a child. I will be able to handle it if one of my children gets sick. I will survive if something happens to one of my children. So now it's your turn. Write down those 3 sentences and fill them in yourself. And the next time that fear comes along, you're going to speak to it differently. Send your mind a clear message that you do not need to keep looping that thought, because even if it happens, you are going to be fine. And if you have to, write down those 3 sentences on a 3x5 card and carry it around with you. So whenever you're being tormented with an anxiety, take out that card and just speak those words to yourself, talking back to your anxiety. Because the truth is that you can stand it, you can handle it, and you are going to survive no matter what happens. You are strong, capable, and competent. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. It's my goal to provide you with the very best content for helping you establish an empowering mindset and moving you towards true peace of mind. So if you found this video to be helpful, please take a moment and give me a thumbs up and share this video with anyone that you think it might help. And if you would like to watch more videos on transforming your mindset, please subscribe to my channel, where I will continue to post more helpful videos each week. So I hope to see you soon.